And yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. I want to talk a little bit about our next subject, which, let's see, is it, 58. We got a couple minutes. So I'm going to just hang out here with you all and talk about some of the different things that I've been, the tools basically that I use, that I love to talk about weight loss tools. So that's what these lives are about. In my one-on-one, I have a one-on-one coaching practice. So my story is about 5 years ago, I decided it was time. I was feeling super hopeless, feeling just like, why bother? I was in my mid-50s and feeling like I tried all the things and wasn't able to. I just realized I don't have my earbuds in. Hang on. This is just awesome. Okay, let's try it. I think my sound will be a little bit better if I have these in. There we go. Okay. So yeah, about 5 years ago, I began this process of deciding that's it. I'm done. I want to lose weight for the last time. What do I need to do? And I found Corinne Crabtree, who is the founder and CEO of the No BS Weight Loss Program. And through her program, I learned how she shares all the tools. And so I followed her for about a year, just soaking in all the wisdom and knowledge, and lost weight, started losing weight just from the tools. And then at some point I decided, you know what, I would like to learn some of the mindset pieces. And that's when I actually joined her program for 2 years, and was in her program and learned so much and loved the weight loss tools so much that I decided to get certified as a life coach. And that's what I've been doing for the last year or so, maybe a little bit more. I've been coaching clients. I have a one-on-one coaching practice where we get on a Zoom call and we'll chat for about an hour or so about all the different things and ways that I can help you lose all the weight that you want for good and not be miserable in the process. So one of the things that I learned was that for me, it was just a miserable experience to, every time I lost weight, it just was painful. And I just thought, well, if it's going to be this painful, it's not for me. And one of the things that I learned through No BS as well as through coaching is that depending on how we're thinking about things, how we approach things, make it such a different experience. And I mean night and day. So let's get started with tonight's little chat. Let me just make sure. I did something different with the chat, so I want to make sure there really is nobody on live, and that's just fine. I'm so glad for those of you who are watching the replay. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here, and hopefully this will be some great information for you. So last week we did talk about planning food and why planning is so important. Let me just, as a refresher, the reasons for planning are to build trust with ourselves, to avoid decision fatigue, to pre-plan and anticipate obstacles before they arise so that it kind of calms your day. That it's a form of self-care. It's just the most loving act you can do for yourself. And it doesn't need to take that long. It's really as long as you want it to take. And even the little bit of time that it does take, it'll save you so much time on the other end of anxiety and angst, decisions, going back and forth, trying to figure out what you want to do, that it's so worth it. So, totally worth it. So, for those of you who are considering evaluating, I'm just going to ask the question, just to think to yourself. I'm going to give you guys a minute, even though I don't see anyone in the, I'm trying to look at my chat. I don't think there's anyone in the chat yet. That's okay. And that is, what comes to your mind when you think about evaluating food? Is there anything that comes to mind when you think of evaluating? And so just sit with that for a minute. I think for most of us, I think it's like something like that, right? Ugh. Do I really want to know? I don't know. I'm not sure I really want to know. For me, it was I didn't want to keep track. I don't really want to know. I'd rather not look at it, just pretend, it's over, it's done, like moving on. And I don't need any more negativity in my life. Those are the thoughts that come to my mind when I think about evaluating my food. Another question I have for you guys. When you jump on the scale and it's a little bit higher than it was yesterday or higher than you want it to be, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Just think about that for a minute. I know for me, it used to be, oh crap. It still is sometimes, quite honestly, right? Oh crap. And then the excuses and justifications come. Well, I had a bad day. It was stressful. My husband was eating in front of me. I blame my age. Oh, I am over 50. I'm 58, for goodness sake. I blame my husband. I blame my kid. I blame the weather. It was a dreary day. It's not my fault. I tell myself I'm bad. I had a bad day. That feels fantastic. I blame my Hashimoto's. I have Hashimoto's thyroid disease. Blame that. I feel helpless, feel defeated, feel frustrated. Before I learned this little trick that I'm going to share with you, that's what I would feel. Do any of those things resonate with you guys? So, just thinking. When you get on the scale and it goes down, what do you think? Do you think, yeah, that's it? And then usually what happened to me was I'd be like, yes! And then I'd be like, I wonder if I'll keep it off. Or I wonder if it was a fluke. Or I was really good today. And it shows. I'm so good. I remember sometimes thinking, oh no, maybe tomorrow won't be as good. And then I would worry in anticipation. So, those are some thoughts that happen when we think of evaluating and getting on the scale. So I do weigh myself every day. And so now when I get on the scale, it's a whole different conversation, and I'll share that with you. Some of my old obstacles about evaluating where I don't want to know, I'd rather not look at it, I don't need a negativity in my life, and I'll just do it in my head. That's it. Yeah, I'll just remember. I don't need to write it down. What a pain, right? It's going to take too long. Won't that make that much of a difference? And who cares? Who really cares? I mean, really, who cares if I actually eat on plan or not? Not a big deal. So, let me explain some of the reasons why evaluating and how it's so amazing before I get to overcoming those obstacles. And we'll be addressing that in some of this stuff too. Once I learned how to evaluate in a way that served me, I learned to start with, what did I do right? What do you know? All of a sudden, then it's not a big negative thing, right? So catching myself at doing something right. So I write down my food that I planned, and then the next day I look at it and I just jot down what I actually ate. Then I have a list of questions. Here's my little planner that I use, and I'll be talking more about that later. Stay tuned. But this is my planner. So this is my planning, and then this is my evaluation. And I've got some questions. And one of the first questions is, what did I do right? What am I proud of myself for? And that does so many things. Number one, it helps fill me with dopamine, which is that feel-good hormone. Which, guess what, will help keep you going. Because once you feel good about yourself, you want to keep doing what you've been doing to make you feel good. If you see yourself doing something right, you want to repeat it. And it feels good, so you repeat it even more. It gives you a little momentum. It's why I look forward to evaluating now, because that's my first thing I do. I love it. I also no longer need to rely on others to tell me how amazing I am. I get to tell myself. So, for those of you that are like, yeah, well, you may talk that way to yourself, but I feel really weird talking about that. Talking positively to myself, it feels awkward and strange. Let me just offer, it feels awkward and strange for all of us. Because why? We're not taught to. We're encouraged not to. As a female especially, I believe, we're just taught to be quiet and be kind and consider others before ourselves and not to be too loud or too boastful or whatever. So here's how I like to explain that to my clients, and this is how it worked out for me too, is yeah, it is awkward. It is hard. And it is strange because we're not used to doing it. But we also didn't always know how to ride a bike either. And so think about when you first started riding a bike and how awkward and strange it was. How weird and just wobbly and like off balance you felt, and felt like you were just shooting in the dark and weren't exactly sure what was happening. And you kept practicing. And the more you practice, the better you get at something, right? Pretty much anything. Well, this is a practice. Learning how to talk nicely to yourself is actually just like riding a bike. It's a practice. And guess what? The more you do it, the better you get. Till one day you're off and running. You're riding off into the, look at my arm. Anyway, you're riding off into the grocery store and not even thinking about it. It's the same way with trying to find what you did right and speaking kindly to yourself. The better we get at it, the more practice we have at it, the better we'll get. And it becomes automatic and natural. And it won't feel awkward and weird always. It may at first. So that is something that we work on one-on-one with my clients. I almost always start our sessions with, let's talk about a victory for the week. And it's really good practice for all of us. So that's something I wanted to offer. I also will just say this, for those of you who think, oh, I don't want to be boastful, I don't want to be prideful, chances are, if you're thinking that way, you are not in danger of that at all. The only time that's a problem is if you start looking down at other people. And nobody wants to do that, right? You know that's not going to be fulfilling. But talking kindly about ourselves, it's everything. It's amazing. And also, here's another one. We don't need to rely on other people to fill up our bucket. We do that for ourselves. So good. Okay. The other reason it's important, the other reason it matters is because, so the next step then, after we find ourselves what we did right, is to consider what could be the real problem. This is so important. So check in with yourself about things that could be an excuse or a justification and call BS on yourself. So when you are looking at the actual paper, so I do this right here. This is mine from this morning. This is my plan for the day. You can see it. There's a shadow. Yep, this is my plan for the day. I look at that and then I write in here what I actually ate. And then I look and see at how closely that connected. If you write it down, you can see clearly, okay, I may have, and I also keep track of, did I eat when I was physically hungry? Did I stop when I was actually satisfied? Did I leave any bites? I sort of have like a little code for those. So I keep track of that. And then you can figure out what exactly happened and you can be on to yourself. Here's the main thing. This is so important. You need to look objectively at this data. So first of all, you're dealing in facts. You're not dealing in your imagination. You're looking objectively. And then the most important piece is to look at it with curiosity and wonder what was going on. Why did I choose to overeat that thing? Or why did I eat when I wasn't hungry? And compassion, because a lot of times there's a reason. Usually it's a feeling we're trying to avoid or a feeling we're trying to create. So sometimes if we think our life is boring and our food is exciting, and we're getting our excitement from food, that's a problem because that means we're not excited about our life. That's very heavy, right? So let's have some compassion on you for thinking that and maybe do something about it. Maybe start creating a life you love. If it's a feeling you're trying to avoid, again with the compassion, right? Or curiosity. Think about,
If you had a fight or you're feeling shame in any way, it's okay. We all do. You have these times. It's okay. A little compassion for yourself. Allow yourself to feel that and move on. And that's what this evaluation can help bring that up and help you to see that. Also, you remind yourself that you are not defined by that number on the scale. And this is so important. Tap into why it is that we're doing this stuff. Why are we working on it? Nobody has to lose weight. There's no rule that says everyone has to be a size 2. Trust me. But if it's something that you want, if you want to have a healthier body, if you want to be around for your grandkids, if you want to be able to keep up with your kids and go on a family vacation and not be winded after a big hike, remind yourself of your real reason for doing what you're doing. This is a great opportunity for you to tap into the bigger picture. That yes, okay, you had a day, right? You're looking at the data. Now's the time to remind yourself of what else you want in your life besides this whole food thing, right? That you're not defined by your number on the scale in the first place. However, you also have bigger things that you want in your life, and remind yourself of that. So good. Also, so that the way you look at your food, you get to decide, do I want to keep this or do I want to change it? And if you want to keep it, that's totally fine. But you're not going to change your outcome if you keep the food the same. So let's remember that. So this is a wonderful opportunity to look at your data, to look at the food, and decide what you want to do differently tomorrow. And that leads me to my next part of the process, which is decide what you want to do differently tomorrow. I have some questions about that. Okay, what am I going to do differently? Based on this information that I looked at non-judgmentally, that I looked at with compassion and curiosity, then I'm going to take this information and decide what I'm going to do tomorrow. Here's the thing. Pick one thing. Just pick one thing you want to change and focus on that. Resist the urge to take extreme action. So you look at the data, you're like, holy crow, I overate. That's it. I'm going to fast all day. I'm going to just drink water. Whatever. Resist that urge to try to compensate. Or I have this weight loss goal and I need to pull back. I got to lose 5 pounds now because originally I was only 3, but now I'm up, blah, blah, blah. The stuff that goes on in your mind, right? Resist that urge. The main thing is, and this is the biggest takeaway, listen closely, drink some water, and eat on plan. Eat your regular food and get back on track. Eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're satisfied. Remind yourself, again, why you want to lose weight. Nobody has to lose weight. There's no rule. But you may decide, you know what, I am going to restrict. I'm going to see if I can eat a little bit less tomorrow because I want to remind myself of what I'm going to gain as a result of that. Those are a great way to look at it. Instead of thinking all or nothing, like, ugh, that's it. I just forget it. I'm going to give up. So let's go back to my obstacles that I had offered earlier. I don't want to know. Like, la, 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 la. If I don't know, I can't, put your head in the sand, right? We don't want to know sometimes. I'd rather not look at it. I don't need any more negativity in my life. Well, I overcame those with the stuff that I talked about, that basically it doesn't have to be negative at all. In fact, it's not. It's like one of my favorite things to do. And let me just offer this. This morning I had a situation. The old me would have been like, ugh, because I got on the scale. It was a little higher than I expected or wanted. And it was so fascinating because now my first thought really was, oh, I can't wait to get my evaluation done. I really want to see what happened yesterday. And then I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's what it was. I realized there was something that I had been choosing to eat and a way that I had been choosing to eat, a reason I was choosing to eat, a certain, amount of food that was causing that gain. Not a problem. Not a big deal. It's just food. And I learned it. I'm using it as a learning opportunity for tomorrow. Really, genuinely. It still happens. Then when I think I'm going to just do it in my head, here's what happens with that. Let me just offer this one. When we think, I'm just going to do it in my head, I'm sure I'll remember. I don't know about you guys, but I never remember anything. So, especially as I'm getting older, my memory's not so hot. But here's the thing. A lot of times, it's just not helpful to think, I'll just do it in my head. There's a lot of reasons why to write it down. One of the things is, I already tried that. By the way, let me just save you some time. I've tried that. It does not work. So just write the thing down. Write down your food. I love to write down what I actually ate, because then when the excuses come, which they do, and the justifications come, you don't have anything to counter them with if you don't have it written down. Because then you start believing them. You're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's what it was. My husband ate those crackers in front of me. Yeah, that's the whole problem right there. But if you write it down, you can look at it and be like, no, actually, he did not force feed me. He did not put the food in my mouth. It was me. I chose that, right? It helps keep us honest with ourselves. Let's be true. Let's be truthful. There are some times if we don't know, if we're pretending we don't know, right? We don't write it down. We remember things maybe incorrectly. Have you ever done Whisper Down the Lane? You might not remember it exactly right if you don't write it down. And then we're not honest with ourselves. We kind of we believe our own BS. And this is where I find one of the most dangerous pieces of this can happen to people is they'll say something like, I've done all the things and I am not losing weight because I'm doing all the things. I know I'm doing everything right and I'm still not losing weight. Okay, guys, let me just offer. First of all, it's impossible to do all the things. Second of all, if you are gaining weight, you're not doing all the things. Trust me. I know, right? You're lying to yourself. When you say, I'm being angelic, or I've done everything perfectly, well, when you write it down, you can't lie. You can't get away with that. Interesting, right? So what I love is you can't, this is the other piece of that. When you're writing it down, you get a chance to correct it. And you know why you're doing what you're doing because you're seeing it in writing. So you can't correct something that you don't know exists. Fascinating, right? So fun. I also love that it sort of slows me down. When I evaluate my plan, evaluate my food, it kind of slows things down and helps me to just take some time and process it and think about it differently, look at it like kind of like very curiously, like, oh, so that's what I did. Okay, interesting, right? All right, next objection. It'll take too long. Okay, let me just say real quick, no, it will not. It doesn't take long. You just write down your food. Write down what you're going to eat. Write down what you ate. Not a big deal. There are some days that this is my little worksheet that I created. Let me just put this here. And I have some questions that follow up. So this is the food piece up here. And then these are just a couple little questions that I fill in at the bottom. There are some days that I just do the food piece. Very rarely, because I love the questions. I think they're really helpful. They're sort of like guided journaling issue kind of questions. Help me to think. I love that slowing down process. Very curious, helps me to learn. But if there's a day that you can't, not a big deal. Let's not aim for perfection. Let's aim for getting the job done and trying to be on to yourself and be truthful. Spending 5 minutes doing this daily plan is not gonna be that long. And here's the thing, like I said before, a little bit of time up front is going to save you so much angst and actually will save you time in the long run. So for those of you who tried it, I meant to say this, for those, I'm really curious if anyone tried putting their clothes out the night before. I did, actually. And it was so interesting because my morning went so much more smoothly. So I started doing that again. Put my clothes out. It saves you time in the long run because you figure out what the obstacle is and you anticipate it and figure it out. And so it actually saves time, it saves energy, it saves thought, it saves decision making. It saves you so much. So the time is well worth it. It's like exponentially better. Okay, it won't make that big of a difference. As I stated before, if you don't know what you're doing, you can't correct it. So one of my favorite activities, if I'm noticing a pattern, is to create a hypothesis. And I think, wonder what was happening there. But keeping it really factual, not the judgment. And and taking some guesses and trying to figure it out. Hang on, we got to thank Michelle is here. Okay. Thanks, Michelle. She says, I'm convinced her to evaluate. She's scared too. So it's so fun. Okay. So taking some guesses and looking for those excuses and kind of being onto yourself, it's just so essential. So you can figure out what problem you're trying to solve. Because let me just say, what a relief, right? Sometimes if we don't know what, like a lot of times, well, people will be so confused, like, I don't know where this is coming from. And it feels so helpless, but it doesn't have to be. The truth is, you can't, once you know what you're dealing with, you can evaluate and move on and figure it out. So there's that. Okay, last, who cares if I don't eat what I planned? Who cares if I eat something different, right? So as we spoke about last week, being a person who keeps promises to themselves is going to serve you in so many ways. It's an essential step in creating self-confidence. It's also learning to build trust with yourself, which is going to serve you in many other areas of your life. And even though no one sees my evaluation, I know I do. And I love to be accountable to myself. It's like self-accountability. Nobody looks over my shoulder. I just do this just for me. It's a gift I give to myself. So it's a skill that will serve in you in so many ways in the future. So that's my discussion. Does anyone have any questions? If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to talk about anything that was unclear. Okay. So for those of you who are interested, I'm just going to continue on. If you're interested in coaching, in one-on-one coaching, I have plenty of openings for my one-on-one coaching practice. I have daytime appointments as well as evenings. And you can just DM me and I'm happy to set up a little chat with you. It would be so fun to connect and see if we're a good fit. Also on my website, which is in the bio, you can jump on my calendar and do it that way if you'd like. For those of you who are interested in my fabulous planning page, I think it's really good. I developed this about a year ago, and it's a PDF, and you can just print it out. Like I said, I've got 2 of them. It's 2-sided, so you can just print a bunch out, and I do these every day. I'm happy to just DM me, and I will get these to you. I can get this to you easily, not a problem. So I would love to share that with you if that's something that's of interest to you. So I think that's all I have for tonight. Thank you so much for coming. It's so great to see everyone, and have a wonderful day. Take care.